This is Andi Purewal for Boxing Social, and I'm delighted to be joined by promoter Bob Arum. Bob, how are you?
Thank you. Very good. Very good.
It's good to hear. Obviously, we're here today for Tyson Fury's press conference ahead of himself flying out to America ahead of his fight with Tom Schwarz, like I said. How excited are you to be working with Tyson for the first time here?
Well, this is really going to be a thrill for me because I've heard a lot about Tyson Fury. I never met him before last night. And he's tremendously engaging. He's very, very smart. I'm going to have a lot of fun. You know, at my age, I look back with such really joy when I handled Muhammad Ali and later on George Foreman. They remind me a lot of Tyson Fury. They're persons. They communicate extraordinarily well, and people care about them, and Tyson is cut from the same cloth.
You mentioned Tyson's stature and his profile in the sport, and when you mentioned the likes of Muhammad Ali and George Foreman, can Tyson emulate those guys and have as big a stature or as big a profile as what those guys did have?
Remember, George Foreman was not Ali. Ali was Ali. Foreman had his own style and his own persona, which caught on with the people. Tyson Fury has that larger-than-life persona, but it's different from George's or from Ali's. So he will develop his own personality, and that's what'll sell to the American people.
Talk about your plans with Tyson on the back of the Tom Schwarz fight. Are you guys looking to find a world title fight for Tyson, or do you think one more fight before that? What are your plans? What have you spoken about?
Our plans are to do another fight with Tyson in September, probably in the Garden, Madison Square Garden, or maybe in the Boston Garden, but back east. And then if all things are in order, to do a heavyweight championship fight between Tyson and Wilder sometime in the first few months of next year. That's the plan, and I think Wilder has agreed to the plan. I mean, that's what we're all looking for, and hopefully that fight can happen, and then we'll take care of Mr. Joshua.
A lot's been discussed about the network politics. So Tyson signed with yourself and then ESPN, Deontay Wilder with Showtime and PBC, and Anthony Joshua with Matchroom and Sky Sports and DAZN. Those different networks, is it going to make it a lot more difficult or maybe impossible to make those fights?
Well, I can just speak for the American networks, from ESPN and from Fox and Showtime, whoever handles Wilder's business at that point. And there won't be a problem between ESPN and, say, Fox or Showtime. Be a joint distribution. We've done it before, like Mayweather-Pacquiao. So, you know, that's not a problem. What problems we have over here with the competing networks, I'm not privy to. But, you know, if there's a big event involved, everything can get worked out.
Mauricio Sullivan came out the other day and said that he wants to make Dillon Whyte versus Tyson Fury as a final eliminator for the WBC world title. What are your thoughts on that, and do you think we will see that fight?
I don't know. Mauricio, who I have great respect for, said that. We'll have to see after this fight with Tyson Fury and Schwarz. We're going to look around and see who the best fighter is to put with Tyson Fury, who'll make the most noise, who'll make the best fight. Maybe it'll be Dillon Whyte, maybe it won't be Dillon Whyte. I don't know at this point. Right now I'm looking forward to the Schwarz fight, and Schwarz is a lot more difficult an opponent than people are giving him credit for, because he hasn't lost. He's a big, strong guy. He matches Tyson in size. And I tell everybody, if Schwarz was matched against Andi Ruiz, Schwarz would be a 3 or 4 to 1 favorite in the fight, and most people would bet Schwarz over Andi Ruiz. So Eddie Hearn is no one to say that he doesn't like the fight between Fury and Schwarz. People in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. I think Fury and Schwarz is a good competitive fight, and I just hope that Tyson is successful.
The WBC have also ordered the Vasyl Lomachenko versus Luke Campbell fight. A bit of a surprise to everyone, as people were expecting Luke Campbell to face Devin Haney. What did you know about the fight before it was made, and what are your thoughts now it has been announced?
Well, we knew once Mikey Garcia gave up the lightweight title that title was vacant. And we knew in the rules that a champion, Lomachenko, of another organization, in this case too, the WBA, WBO, could petition the WBC for consideration to fight for the vacant title. And we convinced the WBC Board of Governors to that fact, and they authorized the fight. I think it's going to be a very, very good fight. We want to do the fight here in the UK. We're going to make arrangements to get that fight done in the UK. And I think it's great for the fans, and I commend the WBC for allowing that fight. Now, Eddie was talking about Haney and Campbell forgetting the fact that there's a Russian boy who is between Campbell and Haney in number 2. So the question is, what are you talking about Campbell and Haney? What about the Russian guy, if Lomachenko wasn't involved? And he said, and this was bizarre, he said, well, the Russian guy is not available. And they asked him why. He said, because he's celebrating Ramadan. What the hell is he talking about? I mean, Ramadan isn't forever. It's 1 month, right? And then the guy gets back in shape, or he stays in shape, and does the fight. So there was no chance that Campbell and Haney were going to fight for a vacant title. That was only in Eddie's mind.
And finally, before I let you shoot off, we're waiting on news on Sergey Kovalev versus Anthony Yarde. Have you got an update for us?
Yes, that fight is happening. It's happening in a major metropolis where Kovalev comes from. Some Russian oligarch is putting up the money for the fight. It's an interesting fight. Obviously, Kovalev fighting in his hometown, which seems to have an advantage. But his chin lately has been suspect, and Yarde hits like a mule. So it'll be a very, very interesting fight. I mean, very interesting. We have all of the other light heavyweights signed to a contract, and if Yarde wins, I'd like to put him in the mix, and we can do a tournament and get a unified light heavyweight championship. But it's a very, very good fight. Kovalev is a better boxer, and more experienced, but Yarde got a dynamite punch.
Well, Bob, I appreciate your time. Thank you for speaking to Boxing Social, and I will see you soon.
My pleasure.